The sun was rising over the desert airfield, painting the sky in streaks of orange and crimson, when the young woman moved quietly across the hangar floor. She wasn't supposed to draw attention. She never did. She kept her head low, her sleeves rolled down even in the heat, and her eyes fixed on the task at hand. Today she was just loading the Apache's ammo, stacking heavy belts of rounds and sliding them into the armored compartments of the beastly helicopter that waited for its pilot. Her fingers worked quickly, practiced from countless shifts, but her mind was far away, haunted by memories she could never speak of. To everyone around her, she was just another ground crew technician, ordinary and unremarkable. But as the Apache's pilot approached and glanced at her, something happened. A strand of hair slipped from under her cap, her sleeve rolled up with the strain of lifting a heavy ammo belt. And that was when he froze. His eyes locked on a tattoo inked faintly against her forearm, one she had tried to hide for years. It wasn't just a tattoo. It was classified, restricted to only the most secretive units of the military, an emblem no ordinary person should bear. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and in the power of stories that reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit, please take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Legends Off History. Your support allows us to bring forgotten and powerful stories like this to life. The tattoo was small, faded but unmistakable, a symbol tied to a covert unit that had long since been wiped from official records. For a pilot trained in the most elite ranks of the Army, seeing it on the arm of a quiet, seemingly ordinary woman was like seeing a ghost. His steps faltered, his jaw tightened, and for a moment he stood still, caught between disbelief and recognition. She noticed the shift in his eyes immediately. She quickly pulled her sleeve down, turning away as though nothing had happened. But it was too late. He had seen, and she knew the questions would come. Her name was Elena, though no one on the base ever asked much about it. She had joined the maintenance crew under a civilian contract, working long shifts in silence, never breaking rules, never seeking attention. To the men around her, she was just another worker, one of many unseen faces who kept the machines of war alive. But her past was a storm she had buried deep. Years ago, she had been part of something few could imagine, an operation so secret that even mentioning it was a violation of federal law. She had carried burdens heavier than any ammo crate, but when tragedy struck her unit and the government erased its existence, she was left behind, stripped of rank, stripped of recognition, forced into shadows. Her tattoo was the last remnant of that life ink she couldn't erase even if she wanted to. The pilot's name was Captain Hayes, a hardened Apache commander who had flown countless missions across hostile skies. He was a man who thought he had seen everything, until this morning. That tattoo burned into his thoughts, raising questions he didn't dare voice aloud. Why did this woman have it? How had she come here unnoticed? And why did her eyes, when she finally met his gaze, carry the same weight he had seen only in those who had lost everything in battle? He said nothing that day, but he watched her. He noticed how she carried herself with quiet discipline, how she checked the ammo belt twice before closing the panel, how she glanced at the Apache not with awe, but with the familiarity of someone who had lived in its shadow before. For days, the tension grew. Elena kept her distance, working silently as always, but inside, her heart was heavy with fear. She had lived years avoiding recognition, afraid that if anyone discovered who she truly was, they would drag her back into the nightmare she had barely escaped. Every night she lay awake in her small quarters, staring at the ceiling, remembering the faces of those she had once served with, faces now gone. She remembered the orders, the missions, the betrayal that had ended it all. And now, with one glance at a tattoo, it seemed her fragile disguise was unraveling. The moment of reckoning came when Captain Hayes returned from a mission one night, his helicopter battered by fire, his crew shaken. Elena was part of the team that rushed forward to reload and repair. But as the crew scrambled, an explosion rocked the far side of the base, plunging everything into chaos. The hangar filled with smoke, alarms blared, and people shouted orders into the confusion. Hayes was trapped near the Apache's wing when a second blast threw shrapnel across the floor. Without hesitation, Elena ran forward. She moved not like a civilian worker but like a soldier trained for combat. She pulled him free, shielding him with her own body as fragments rained down. In that moment, the truth was undeniable. Hayes saw it in her movements, the precision, the courage, the reflexes of someone who had lived through war, not watched from the sidelines. And when the dust cleared, he confronted her quietly, not with suspicion, but with respect. She didn't speak much. She only said what mattered, that she had once been part of a unit that no longer existed, that she had lost everything, and that she wanted nothing more than to live quietly, away from recognition. But her actions that night spoke louder than any words. She had saved him without thought for herself, exposing her secret in the process. From that day forward, Hayes treated her differently. He didn't report her, didn't question her. Instead, he offered something far more powerful: respect. The crew began to notice too. Though she never boasted, never spoke of her past, they saw how Hayes looked at her, how he listened when she offered small suggestions about the Apache's systems, how he trusted her presence in moments of urgency. Slowly, Elena's walls began to crumble. For the first time in years, she felt like she wasn't just a ghost drifting through life. She was seen. She was valued. But the past has a way of finding those who run from it. Months later, whispers spread across the base of an enemy ambush that had wiped out an Allied patrol. Hayes was ordered to lead a dangerous rescue mission into hostile territory. The odds were grim, the skies thick with fire. That morning, as he prepared to take off, Elena approached quietly. She handed him the final ammo belt, her hands steady, her eyes unwavering. And then she rolled up her sleeve, showing him the tattoo fully for the first time. "This," she said, "is not a mark of shame. It is a reminder of those who never came back. Don't let fear stop you. Carry them with you." Hayes nodded, and for the first time, he understood the true weight she carried. He flew that mission with her strength in his heart, and against impossible odds, he and his crew returned alive. When he stepped off the Apache, bruised but breathing, he searched the hangar until he found her, and without a word, he saluted. Not as a pilot to a technician, but as a soldier to a forgotten warrior who deserved honor. Elena never asked for recognition. She never sought medals or applause. But in that hangar, among the machines and the dust, she found something she thought she had lost forever: belonging. The tattoo that had once been a curse became a quiet badge of survival, of sacrifice, of resilience. She was not invisible anymore. She was part of something greater again, not because of her past, but because she had the courage to stand, to save, to endure. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the unseen strength carried by those around us, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Legends Off History. Your support means we can continue sharing stories of courage, resilience, and humanity that the world should never forget. Special request: before you leave, drop a comment below. Tell us, what does second chances and hidden strength mean to you? Your words may inspire someone else who needs to hear them today.